Jo Henderson, 25 years old. Her father is a famous author whom she looks up to and respects, following in his footsteps by writing her own book, Bad Proof, under the pen name Jeffrey Collins. And it was a big success, evidence of her own skills and effort. People outside would praise her book, but the respect was always towards the illustrator Jeffrey Collins. At a certain point, she resented having to hide her name at all, to pretend to be a male author for her book to be taken seriously. People clearly saw the quality of her writing, so it'd be fine to claim her recognition as the author, right? So, Jo went to an author interview, not hiding she's a woman. A revelation the interview didn't take well. The media dragged her name through the mud. First, they slammed her book as nepotism. They doubted her skills because she's a woman, assuming her father wrote the book instead. All publishers began blacklisting her, and even her father turned his back against her, telling her to just quit writing altogether. She was alone. All because she wanted to be acknowledged, to be seen. Yet the world seemed to revel in her suffering, as she tried again and again in the face of rejection. But she's only human, and it hurt so much. So can she be blamed for clinging to hope, to the first sign of kindness in so long? Maybe it was wishful escapism, but it made her happy nonetheless, which is why it hurt all the more when he told her to quit writing too. And worse, learning his name is William Ford, the literary critic that hated her book the most. All this time pretending to be on her side, telling her to marry and quit writing, to cook and have children, to stop aiming beyond her station in life, because he'll guarantee she never succeeds as an author. That it's the truth, whether she denies it or not. Well, we're dealing with the topic of misogyny again. Never change, Korea, never change. And I already done this once with A Joyful Life, which in that story the message was you shouldn't speak out your problems because you're a woman. But this time in Shine on You, the message is more you'll be seen as less capable because you're a woman. The story uses the case of a woman using a pseudonym and the rejection therefore after to highlight that fact. And it's an idea not without precedent. Take America for example. Back in the 18th century, women weren't even legally allowed to be publishers, having to do so under someone else's name. And even after gaining the ability to do so in the 19th century, they were faced with a lot of discrimination that limited them. Famous cases of authors like Marianne Evans used a pen name, George Eliot, to avoid her works being dismissed on the basis of her being a woman. Though, in her case, after the public found out, she was still accepted as an author and continued to write. Which is why it's a bit strange how strongly Jo was rejected by the media. Though if I had to give like some benefit of the doubt, I can imagine William Ford and other critics might have done like a smear campaign against her. Even then, the time period of the story isn't as far back as the 18th or 19th century. Jo has been shown to be in a telephone box at one point, and in a classic urban diner, meaning the setting is somewhere likely in the mid-20th century, and by no means am I saying women were magically treated equally to men as authors in the 20th century. I just find it harder to imagine it go as terribly as the hand Jo had been dealt. Though that is the beauty of storytelling. We can heighten certain elements to make a point. So I believe the story's choice of representation was acceptable. It was fine. Regardless though, the misogyny is only one aspect of the story, and mostly lingers in the background before popping his ugly head again. Do remember, I cover Yuri stories, so the plot mostly focuses on Jo rebuilding her confidence as a writer, as well as learning to trust in another person again. Both wounds that slowly heal through the story, when one Anna Baker barges into Jo's life. And I believe introductions are in order. Anna Baker, a real ball of happiness, first saw Jo while moving in next door, and it was immediately taken in by her beauty. Anna had recently just started university, moving to share a home with housemates. It should have been an exciting new chapter in her life, but her mind kept wandering to that woman. Call it a cliche love at first sight, but she wanted to get to know her. She can't even focus on the first day of class because she's busy brainstorming ways to meet her. That is, until her sculpting professor announced a long-term assignment to sculpt based off a person as their muse. And the first one that came to her mind was the pretty lady next door. So Anna set off to meet her, arriving at Joe's home, and for the first time they see face to face. Anna starts to introduce herself, but Joe honestly could not be bothered to care, though Anna eventually ends her greeting parting with a miniature sculpture as a gift. Meanwhile, in Joe's perspective, she thinks Anna is a weird girl, maybe even an annoying one because she keeps showing up the next day, now getting acquainted with her aunt. After Anna leaves again, her aunt even tells her of Anna's curiosity towards Joe, that it'd be nice if Joe became friendly with her. This was just the beginning though. To get closer to Joe, she started coincidentally running into her, which didn't work as well. She also tried baking her sweets every day, which weren't rejected at least. Anna even tried gifting more sculptures, once a day, every day. Unknown to Anna, all her efforts have just been bothering Joe. Anna just wouldn't leave her alone. But her aunt had a good impression of Anna, even pushing her to become friends with Anna, something she had no interest in doing. She'd rather spend her time developing her next book than talking to some random woman. So Joe asks Anna directly why she keeps bothering her, and Anna clearly says she just wants Joe for her assignment. But frankly, Joe doesn't care. She doesn't have the time or the trust in anybody this innocent, and rejects her, kicking her out for good. With Anna gone, she can finally focus on her writing again. But she has been in a writer's block for some time now, unable to come up with any good ideas. Yet, forces herself to write nonetheless. And somehow, she wrote something good. The caveat? She based it off her experience with Anna. But she'll do anything for her writing, knowing the irony of kicking out Anna just to return to her. Joe still apologizes for her rudeness and proposes they mutually help each other, something Anna is more than happy to do, beginning their newfound partnership as they start to get to know each other. Their relationship is just now forming, and they have some bumpy roads with how closed off Joe is, but it's best left for you, the potential reader, to see for yourself. Usually I don't stop so soon after starting, but Shine On You happens to be really dense in content. Like, usually full webtoons have anywhere between 20 to 40 pages length, but Shine On You has like an average of 60. So I only cover like 5 chapters, not including Joe's backstory. It makes sense since the author likes to use panels with no text often, just letting their art speak for itself, letting the moment live on its own. And it's wonderful while reading. And you can experience the story officially on Pocket Comments. That said, I will mention, despite being 50 episodes, that there should have been more. What I mean by that is, you can usually tell when reading a story that it feels a bit rushed in the end, and Shine On You really shows in that regard. It's bittersweet to recommend it despite that, but the quality of the work and that it has built up isn't ruined, just not entirely paid off as I would like. Yet it was much more enjoyable than not. And I can't blame the author when their vision is cut short, probably due to circumstances outside their control. Therefore, I will still ask you to give it a chance to read. And as always, thank you for watching, and hope you subscribe to keep up to date with my Yuri recommendations. See you next time. Of course, spread Yuri memes. It's part of our duty. Bye.